So, women's football is coming to Football Manager, maybe not next year, maybe the year after, but let's discuss what they've released online and let's have a read about how they think they can change the world of women's football in Football Manager. Now, before this video starts, we have some targets for this video. If you guys can leave a like, we're trying to hit, let's say, 10-15 likes on this video. And of course, if you're around here, why not subscribe to the channel? Comment below what your thoughts on are of the women's update coming to FM. Anyway, guys, let's get on with the video, shall we? So, it is July, and this is around the time we start getting a little bits of information, July, August time, about the next iteration of FM, of course, FM 22. But this one isn't really FM 22 news, it's kind of... I guess it'll probably be FM 23/24 be the main year we see this in. Maybe I reckon next year, 23 will be the year we see a sort of a basic-ish version of it. But I reckon FM 24 will be the main year this really kicks off. Hopefully they get it in 23, but obviously with COVID and all the restrictions, they'll probably get their deadlines moving back by about 10,000 years. But this is the first bit of info we have found about the future FM iteration. It is, of course, the FM women's section. How we're going to introduce women's football into Football Manager is a blog post on their website. You can check this out by going on the Football Manager website. It's pretty straightforward, or you can go on Twitter and they linked it there. But wherever they mention women's football in social media, people respond. But I always see online, to be fair, I always do see online people asking when women's football will come in. I've asked my stream before, and to be honest with you, not many people in my stream have said we want the women's game. That doesn't mean they don't. There's a massive demand for women's football. People don't understand that women's football is growing massively. It is technically a new sport. People don't get that. Compared to men's football, it has been pushed back and back and back and back in terms of funding by the FA and previous historical reasons and stuff like that. It's a relatively new sport. The audience is growing. We've got Sky Sports and BT Sports have bought the rights for it this year, so it will be on mainstream TV in the UK far more often. I think BBC maybe have some games as well. I'm not sure about that, but the game is growing massively, year by year, and this is only a positive step, and we'll talk about this article in a second. I'll give you my thoughts on the end. Of course, I work in women's football, so to see this could be huge for the women's game. I know for a fact it will actually help a lot of people get into it, people actually being able to understand women's football before they go and watch a game, maybe know the players before they watch it. Like, say, for example, someone wants to maybe get into Belgian football. They might make a Belgium save and see what the hot prospects are and see what players are key and see what teams are good and what teams are bad. This is what I can imagine it being like for women's football. If you're interested in getting into it, you may have seen a game and you want to see more of it. Go onto FM, hop onto FM, make a save, and you're in the women's game. It is so straightforward, a great idea. But let's go on with the article and see what it says. So they say here straight off the bat that one thing is clear: there is no interest in a standalone women's FM. So that means men's and women's saves will be in the same save. So you can go back from men's football, you can take a West Ham job and then go and manage the women's team, which I think is a very good idea. But they're adding it for one sport and one game. Move seamlessly from a men's team to a women's team and back again. Like I say, be part of the living, breathing world that constitutes FM. FM saves. The world will be a whole lot bigger and a little more varied. It's going to cost millions of pounds and the short-term returns are minimal, but it's not the point. So basically, they're trying to break the glass ceiling for women's football and help the game develop, which I think is absolutely great. Fantastic work from FM there in Sports Interactive. But like I say, of course, here Sky and BBC have got to deal with the WSL, which is the England Women's Super League. So that's the Premier League equivalent. So you've got the WSL and the WSL2, and below that are the lower leagues as well. But yeah, the WSL is the main league in England. Probably, I would say, the best league in the world in terms of women's football for sure. I'm going to be biased here, but I genuinely think that and the US women's national league women's Super League is probably the best two in the world. The US national team is fantastic. Although in the Olympics they started off poorly. If you haven't taken it noticed, they lost to Sweden 3-0 somehow. But they're trying to help women's football get to where it deserves to be. And to be honest with you, there has been a lot of stick. A lot of people have slated women's football in the past, but it has improved a lot. Obviously, it's a long way to go, and we know that. People know that. People aren't dumb to think that it's a completely level playing field. Of course, it's not. But as it grows in popularity and finances come in, I think it definitely can get to a higher level than it is now. It's a high level already, but FM are trying to contribute to here. Let's have a look here. One request over the years, women's database that works with FM. Wouldn't work a lot more than women's football at FM. They're replacing the male players with female players, but data is an interesting one. So onto data here. Going to take some time to build a global database, which is why I think it won't be 23, it might be 24. 28 years to build so far for the men's game. So a lot of that we need to research and add in one more team, let alone multiple leagues. Obviously got... Don't know what leagues they'll have. I don't know what leagues they'll have. I assume they'll have the Spanish, German, French, English, American, maybe Italian. I think Italy is growing. I think Sassuolo just released their women's team, so they are growing. I'm not sure what leagues they'll have. Maybe they have all of them. They'll definitely have the international games, though, for sure, which would be quite good. To get into women's database right, examine every single in-game attribute and define how we judge the data. Attributes such as pace, acceleration, agility will likely stay the same range, but some in a different scale. So 1 to 20, but you might see more players. I don't know what that even means. Maybe how they judge pace. So if, let's say, a men's player is 100 miles an hour, a women's 20 might be 70. Let's put it that way. I don't know. The attributes into a match engine, of course, work done in this area for heights of players, stuff like that would benefit the whole match engine overall. Yeah, that's true. If something suits a 6'4" player, there aren't many of those in the women's game, of course. Female character models, but only staff members. Need to get animations for women's players as well. Body shapes with different bone structures, stuff like that. So have to recreate all the motion capture for female players. Their 3D engine takes months to clean up and perfect the data by each motion capture session to get it right in the engine. Our in-game 3D models, historically not advanced as male versions, women's football kits are different once again to the body shapes. I don't think the body shape in the kits is really that much of an issue, to be honest with you. Aesthetically it is, but for getting the game out, I'm not sure people will be too fussed about the curvature of the kit being a bit different here. But Artist Animation team have been growing to deal with extra work in mind. The transfer system is different to the men's. Financial wage structures accommodate unique rules, and the women's league as well. There's a whole different financial ballgame in the women's game. Transfers and contracts work different. Normally, women contracts, a lot of the players end at the end of the season, they get 1-year renewals. There's very rarely, I say very, it's growing in the game, but not as often are there 3 or 4 or 5-year contracts with players. Women's football changes quickly, so normally 1 or 2-year contracts are more common here. Let's have a look here. Menstrual cycle on training and injuries. Incorporated stuff has a major effect on gameplay. Pregnancy. 3D model for different stages of pregnancy. I think they should just not have that. I know it's real life, but I think they should just avoid the pregnancy situation. It'll be a random generated stuff. You'll get real. They can't do it with real players. They'd have to do it with regens. They couldn't do that with real players, I don't think. It's like the whole in FM right now, the players come out as gay. I don't think you can have that as a real player. Only fake players can have that. Probably be the same with pregnancy, but then I think for me, just avoid that personally. I don't think anyone really cares enough. I don't think it makes a difference to the game really that much in terms of that. In-game text and translation. Player games male character or female, so most star strings and men already in place. Current game footballers are male, all strings back to them gender specific. More than 100,000 strings to rewrite. Translate to 19 languages, around 3 million words. Jesus. And that's going to take up most of the cost, just translating all the words. That is interesting. Beginning this piece, working on the project for quite some time already. Many conversations, working in areas of football. Let's have a look here. So this is the motion capture. These are the Kamita sisters. One used to play for West Ham, the other's a presenter. I'm not sure if they both play for West Ham, but one definitely played for West Ham years ago. Up until about 3 years ago, but they're both now presenters in the women's football show, I think it might be. Rosie and Molly Kamita here. They both played professional. I know that Rosie, I'm not sure about Molly. So they share the bubble, of course, so during COVID they can do this, which is perfect. Someone that works in the SR team is already researching women's football, so they have actually prepared years ago, hiring people that know women's football to get in here. But what else have we got here? Design team about designing features and engineers. There's so much going on to make this game. You can see why they haven't done it yet, because resources are huge. Many of the tasks and run simultaneously, which shorten the timeline. Multi-year project, like I say, probably FM24 for me. Don't know how long it takes. I can't say which version will see the women's football make its debut. Rest assured, our plans to make it happen as soon as possible, ensuring still getting all the features you expect by new FM, by adding resources to the existing team. The project of the cost will be substantial. so commercial partners will probably finance this. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. And of course, in terms of partnerships, we've got an ongoing partnership with AFC Wimbledon ladies and girls and Watford's women as part of our deals and men's team. Not enough. Proud to announce they've signed with Leicester City women. Wow. FM branding on the dugout and interview boards for the club. Now, Leicester, I think they may have got promoted. I thought they may have got promoted, Leicester City women's. They are in their first ever season Super League, so they have actually sponsored a Super League side going ahead of the season, which is actually massive news, to be fair. For the women's game, that's obviously the biggest. That's like a Premier League team. It's like Watford, actually. The equivalent of Watford in the men's game being sponsored by FM. It seems like Leicester are in the dugout. But that is it in terms of the women's football update coming, hopefully, I'm going to say FM24. I'm going to say FM24. That's my opinion for it. Wearing the West Ham kit, by the way, if you haven't checked. It's a very, very lovely number. But yeah, guys, I think it'll be huge for the game. I think it'll be huge for not only FM, but for the women's game. But I think FM, I think you'll see a lot of saves of women's football. I think it'll be really, really good to give it a go in probably a couple of years' time. But we'll see some development for it. I'll keep you updated in updates. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. But let me know what you think about the women's football being in the game. I'm really looking forward to it. I've got to say, 3 years ago, would it have excited me this much? Not really. But now I'm involved with the women's game. You can see how hard people work, how good the players actually are. You get to understand how professional these players actually are. And it's not a half-serious sport. But I'm really looking forward to seeing how it goes. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe if you're new around here. And yeah, I'll catch you all later for some more FM22, 3 and 4 news. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you later, guys.